step in the name of love. No, just kidding. What are you doing? What I mean is, what are you spending your time doing? I've spoken about this before, and I felt the desire to speak about it again because in the last little while, few weeks maybe, certainly within the last week with intention, I have been leaning into, as I've spoken of recently on my channel about the masculine and feminine flow within ourselves and leaning into your seasons of summer and winter and those sorts of things. I've been, I don't quite know how to put it, just looking for what that flow looks like and what feels good for me. And in doing so, I'm sort of laughing because what I discovered in this process is two things. One, that I really love painting. And two, that I have essentially very much subconsciously been fighting the inner knowing that I'm an artist. Now, maybe to those of you external to me, and even honestly to a part of me, it still sounds like, wow, so we're already being that full of ourselves, eh? Like we're already claiming, oh, we're just an artist and we just started painting. And it's like, well, yeah, I am. Because you know what? I'm going to soon be older than I would like to admit. And it has taken me a long time to find those things which at one point I would have told you were elusive. Those, like I had heard before, people talk about being in flow. And I know somewhat how that feels because I'm a musician. And for me, flow does indeed happen when I'm playing music with other people. Lesser to an extent when I'm playing just on my own, like in practice or whatever. And I guess you could say ever since then, I've been sort of searching for what flow works for me, or what does divine flow look like, or what is a healthy work-life balance, you know, just really more balance in my life. And the reason I sat down to make this particular video was because I wanted to encourage you guys to really lean into embracing whatever it is that your flow is, meaning whatever order of events, whatever routines, whatever habits, I don't know if I want to use that word, whatever things work for you, to use them and allow yourself to find a flow, if that makes sense. So it's something which it might, depending on where you are in your journey, it might sound really silly to you for me to be saying this now. For me, it's incredibly relevant as I've just really strongly had this realization. And again, the point of this video is just to say, do more of what you love. One of the very most impactful things I've been learning lately is that as crazy as it can often feel, when we allow ourselves to do the things that we actually really, really enjoy, rather than say the things that we quote unquote have to do, it offers a shocking amount of freedom that even I didn't expect. Like it's funny to say I expect ever now, because quite honestly, I rarely have any sort of expectations with any person, any situation, anything really. And yet, I suppose you could say I'm still surprised often by life and the way that things end up playing out for me in my life. So what I mean is, for most of my life, if I'm really being honest with myself and with all of you, I have for the majority of my life felt this inner urge to be an artist, to embrace this artist self, I guess you could say. And once upon a time, when I was purely, like back in school, when I was purely focused on music, which for those of you who don't know, my degree is in fact in music performance. And that was to the exclusion of everything else, meaning I didn't pursue other interests that I had, basically in favor of me pursuing my academic education. Now, what that kind of means is for my life, I guess you could look at it. I'm choosing not to see it in this way. I'm using this for descriptive purposes only. I lost out on, you know, exploring things like other outside of music, like painting, or like, I don't know, this isn't so much an interest of mine, but, or say like business training. Just the point being mainly that I honed in and laser focused so much on music that even within college, while I was also enjoying, say, just as a for example, I really enjoyed a tropical ecology course that I took. And I could have pursued perhaps a science route in college because I was believing, and this plays into the beliefs or everything video that I did the other day, which if you haven't seen it, I would highly recommend going and checking that out. Maybe here somewhere. And if not there, then it'll be at the end of the video. There will be a little link up. I think it's here if it doesn't flip my video for you to go and watch that video. At any rate, what I was saying in that video was that your beliefs end up being everything. And so at that time in my life, I believed like I am the musician, and I was like, that is my goal, that is my life. My life's mission is only about my talents. Like these were the sorts of things we were playing. So I did, quite frankly, I didn't even dabble into the world of art because I was, this sounds really silly in retrospect. However, what I would say to myself is essentially, well, you have no training, so you have almost, right, no right to pick up a paintbrush and even try to paint, which is like ridiculous logic. I do realize that. And at the time, my whatever part of me was so strong that I didn't even experiment with other things that I might enjoy besides what I was naturally gifted at and blessed for, which is music. However, there is a whole big wide world out there to explore. And I guess I'm saying that to perhaps the past version of myself, perhaps the current version of you. Understand that wherever you are in your life right now, and if you happen to be resonating with what I'm saying, like you've been going along most of your life with a particular track. Mine was music. Maybe yours is something else. Maybe yours is writing. Maybe yours was engineering. Heck, I don't know. It could be literally anything. Let's say doctor. Maybe your family wanted you to be a doctor. Like my family and I kind of joke around because my dad, for ages and ages and ages, like I genuinely believe he really wanted me to become the next Jethro Tull. And if you're familiar with Jethro Tull, then you'll get why that's kind of funny. Jethro Tull was like a rock band from the 60s, 70s that their main guy was a flute player. And so thus my father always had this idea that I would like be the female version of that and be this crazy one-legged weird psychedelic tie-dye wearing hippie flute player person. And again, we joke about it now, I think partly because along the way somewhere he realized that that's not really my dream. And again, I'm laughing about it now because I've had a new level of realization, I suppose you could say, of holy crap, I have a really big passion for art. And not only that, what's been really interesting in the discovery of me finding my love for art is that there are not very many things in my life which bring my mind into a state of calm besides like meditation. Meditation does work for me. Thank the universe, thank the maker. However, through my life, there have been very few other things that brought my mind to that calm state other than, like I said, playing music in a group with people. Like being in the act of actually being a part of an orchestra, a part of a band, actually performing or something. It's particularly then that I find my flow. Outside of that, it has been tricky for me in my life to find those calming spaces. However, I have in the past found them in horseback riding. Haven't done that, as you might have noticed, in years. There are so many things in this world for us to pursue, and you don't need to feel boxed in by, for example, what your family might be encouraging you to do, or alternatively, what your talents are. And while I'm not saying throw away your talents, that would be almost an insult to the universe to throw away your talents, because your talents exist for a reason, and you have whatever natural talents you have for a very important reason, and you kind of like inherited that, if you want to think of it that way. So I'm not saying to throw those away. However, I also invite you to explore other things as well. Don't feel like you need to be boxed into only one thing because you're good at a certain thing, which brings me to the other really important point that I wanted to make in this video, besides do more of what you love. Understand, and this was a huge epiphany moment for me, it really was, you don't have to be good at something to love it. And the opposite of that as well is true, is you can absolutely love something and you do not have to be the best in the world at it. Like that is okay. And I kind of laugh about it to myself now because I think it's such a crazy, weird thing that my brain concocted with that. Like, of course you can. People love all sorts of things. Why shouldn't you love something that you're not necessarily gifted at? And yet for the longest time, my brain was like, if you're not good at it, then you can't do it. And would like, I may have made this joke on my channel before, but about folks who, in one of my favorite movies, Hitch, he says, the dating guy who's giving advice to someone trying to date makes a comment to him, something along the lines of like, wow, you just went from like pre-dating and skipped the entire dating process and went straight to the breakup. And it's kind of like, so I would self-annihilate like even potential ideas of exciting things. And so to wrap it back to where I was going with this was, what I found for myself recently is that with painting in particular, I don't know what it is, but I am so blessed and grateful that I get to explore that now, because I've found that painting for me is like the most soothing experience. It just, in the most positive way, it takes my mind out of this crazy, wild hamster wheel, Rolodexy conditioned thing, and allows me to be more of me and to just relax and let the universe do whatever it wants to do if it's playing through me on paper, if that be through watercolors or my art, other forms of art, or whatever, anything else that I may make or do, whether that's a meditation, or not. So if you take not much else away from this video, do more of what you love, and don't, for goodness sake, don't wait to do those things. Like even now, I still find myself on some days being like, well, I really want to paint, but I should do la 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 la. No, right? Like if you catch yourself in those moments, I'd urge you to actually do the thing that you really want to do, because even though you might resist it at first and it feels really weird to allow yourself to do what you really want to do, like I said, or have said in previous videos, it feels at first really like, ooh, I feel irresponsible. The more that you do it, the more free your life becomes, the more calm your mind becomes, and as I think I have mentioned, more doors begin to open for you. So I don't want to turn this into 2 videos worth of stuff. So do more of what you love, and please don't wait to do those things. Like if you find things that calm your mind, do it. And third, I guess, or bonus or whatever, feel free to explore outside of your own natural talents. Simply because you are maybe not good by your own standards at something doesn't mean that you're unable to love it. It could absolutely be a passion for you. You can absolutely still do it. For example, create art, even if you're not the Picasso or Van Gogh of painting. That is 100% okay, and you should absolutely follow your passions, because even if you aren't the best at it, example, me with painting, I literally just started and I barely know how, and yet it is bringing me into a state of flow on a regular basis to where, guys, I've been painting every day just for enjoyment. And also I would invite you, I really invite you to explore inviting yourself to express via art. And sorry if you're hearing some squeaking, this house has some really weird pipe things going on that you might hear in the backgrounds. If I find some way to edit it out, or maybe you won't hear it, then you won't hear it. So do more of what you love, allow yourself to do those things that you love, no matter what they are, and watch your life get more magical and beautiful and free. And you'll find that it calms your nervous system, which is another really important thing I wanted to mention about it, because as I've spoken about in, I think, a previous video, calming your nervous system is so vitally important for us nowadays, meaning literally all of us, any of us, anybody on earth will benefit from calming their nervous system for a time, because for the most part, all of us, even if we're awake, we get caught up in the cycle at some point, and our nervous systems become like, they go from being like, ha, to like, and then it's like, we remember, and then we go, ha, like every day. So it's like, just remember that you are allowed to breathe, and it is absolutely okay to take 5 minutes, 10 minutes, heck, an hour, whatever time you feel you want and you need to do the things that you love. And I encourage you to do the things you love more, because they will bring you more magic and happiness and peace. So if you want to reach out to me for any kind of support, you can do so at this email address. Do subscribe if you enjoy the kind of content that I make, or my humor, or anything about this, as I do post daily. And it turns out that a whole lot of you aren't actually subscribed. So help a small content creator out like me and subscribe. And apparently the statistics are literally that if we don't tell you to subscribe, people forget to do so. So it's completely free. So please, if you enjoy this, allow me to know that, so that I can continue to make content, not just for me, but also to know that my content is helpful to you guys. Have a beautiful rest of your day or night whenever you're seeing this. Namaste, much love, and I will see you, beautiful cats, in the next video. Much love. Namaste. Bye. ha, to like, and then it's like we remember, and then we go ha. It takes my mind out of this crazy wild hamster wheel Rolodexy conditioned thing. But la 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 la. As the last thing before I go here, maybe here somewhere, and if not there, then it'll be at the end of the video. There will be a little link up. I think it's here if it doesn't